Okie dokie. So, how was the writing process and all that for you? Did you enjoy it?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I
Yeah.
was afraid at first. I thought it would be hard, but it was so easy. It was so easy and so fluent and so fluid. I
Yeah.
was really surprised that it was so amazingly great.
That's good to hear because a lot of
Hmm.
a lot of people find it easy to write about topics that they are so involved in. You know, it
Hmm.
comes easily, it
Hmm.
flows well. You just have this urge to write, and then once you sit
Hmm.
down, it all just comes out. So that's nice. I'm so glad to hear that you had a good experience with writing. And how was
Yes.
and you completed with your editing uh with the editor, or you're
Yes.
still in the busy? Okay. How did that
Yes,
go?
I think so. Well, it was pretty easy because it was just small things
Yeah.
and the editor did a really, really great job. So that was easy as well. So the whole process was like so much easier than I thought because if you've never written a book, then it's like a scary thing. But I think that part of my soul gift is writing because my soul gift, my main one is divine communication. It's this energy center. And so divine communicators usually go from a platform where they speak or write a little bit, do blogs. Like I'm a YouTuber, so I love YouTube. So that's divine communication. But it usually evolves to being a teacher and then also writing books. And so I feel this was the next step for me because I asked, okay, I'm ready for the next level. I'm ready. I don't know what's going to come in, but I'm ready for that leveling up of my divine gifts or what I want to contribute to the world. And then I got an email from you. And my guys were, that's it. That's your next level. And I'm like, hooray. And I didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
I agree with you because I've read a little bit of what you've written. I didn't read your entire edited chapter. I read a little bit of the first draft you had sent, and you are a natural writer. You really are.
Really?
You really are. When I read your chapter, you looked like somebody who writes regularly, like somebody who communicates well through writing, maybe blogs or something.
Really?
Really, it was very natural. So I was very happy to hear that you this was the next step for you and the next logical thing
Yes.
because that's how it came across when I was reading. I'm excited to see what the edited chapter will look like. And I'm also glad that you had a good experience with the editor. I love her.
Yes.
We've been working
Yes.
together for a very long time.
Hmm.
And what I love about her is that she understands the sacredness of
Hmm.
how the authors write and how not to
Yes.
mess with that.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
changing things to make it more suitable for a reader, she will do, but she won't change the essence and the vibration
Hmm.
of the actual
Hmm.
text that you have submitted, which I love. I love that so much. So, she gets it,
Yes.
you know?
Yes, she's very aligned. I felt like the
Yeah.
whole process of you, um, writing me when I first talked to you, and the whole process, the others, the editor, it was such an aligned, beautiful process. And I've made some really close friendships here in the group with two
Yes.
other authors. We formed a little group, and we are like, the thing is like meeting people who are at your same stage of awakening or at your same level with the
Yes.
same spiritual frequency. It's unbelievable. It's very hard, and we found each other, so we're so happy about that too. And you brought us together, so I feel that you also, have a special frequency and bring people together that match a very high, beautiful frequency, which is also yours. So it's actually thanks to you that all the authors who are there are, fit together so well. So thank
Yes.
you for that.
You are welcome. And I'm so happy. I know who you're talking about. And I'm so happy that you guys have managed to connect and collaborate. You've already done some good work together. So that
Yes.
is so exciting. It makes me so happy because beyond just this book, I know that the messages will continue, the work will continue. You guys will
Mm-hmm.
collaborate and,
Mm-hmm.
do other things. So that is
Yes.
so good. That makes me so happy. I'm so glad.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your chapter. Why did you write what you wrote? What are some of the things you wrote that surprised you even? What are the things you are excited about to share in this book that you've written?
Wow. Well, for me, I always like to be very motivating, very inspirational in my messages, like to uplift and to open consciousness of whoever is, joining me in my work or whatever I'm trying to do. So it was kind of natural that I continued like that. And the thing is, I didn't really think that much about what I was going to write. It just kind of came out. So what really surprised me actually that as I was writing, I channeled more deeply those messages, which I thought I already knew to write. I thought, okay, I'll write about this. But when I jumped in, it was like a portal was opened and I got even closer to what I was writing about. For example, the introduction, the very first part where I'm the whale. I don't know, did you read that part? That, it's like, I thought, okay, somehow I had to start with that because that shows the alien or ET or starseed theme in a completely different way. Because for me, I know that my soul originated in a different dimension, in a different body. I mean, that's the most ET you can get, like really far away. But it's like so different than people think. Like, I was a whale, a cosmic whale in a water planet in a high dimension. And I knew this, but when I started writing, more memories came. And it opened like a stream of consciousness where I actually felt it even more than when I was talking about it, or my first experience, even. It was unbelievable. And more knowledge came through. And even though it's just a short introduction, it was like a deep experience for me. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Unbelievable. So that's just one example of what really surprised me, and I think that was a good like tuning in to all the rest, and it just came so fluidly, automatically, so easy.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love reading about memories from different planets, especially water planets. I love water, and I also
Mm-hmm.
resonate a lot with water planets
Mm-hmm.
and water beings. It's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful for me, but it's strange because I think I probably have some trauma. I don't think it's related to this life, but I do have
Mm-hmm.
some trauma about water because I have this, not a fear, but it's like an anxiety that comes when I'm
Mm-hmm.
off the shore. When I'm on the
Yes.
shore, it's fine. When I'm on the beach, it's wonderful. I can live there forever. I do
Mm-hmm.
live near the beach. But
Yeah.
when I see open bodies of water with no land nearby,
Yeah.
I do
And
get
deep
some,
water, probably. Deep blue
yeah,
water, right? And I mean,
yes.
did you know there's one interesting thing about star seeds from Mintaka, from the belt of Orion, from Artuvia. That is a water planet that is like Earth. It's like our sister planet. And those are the mermaid beings. But the waters of Mintaka are light turquoise. They're not deep, they're not dark, and they're shallow. And the Mintakan mermaids are afraid of open, dark blue water.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
they don't
that.
like that. They like it to be shallow where you can see to the bottom, and they don't like it when you don't see to the bottom because their world is like that. They lived in those types of places. So just as an idea
That is
of
that
some sort of
resonates with me.
connection,
Yeah,
maybe.
that resonates with me because I always say, especially when we go to the beach and maybe the water's a little bit murky, or if there
Yeah.
is a lot of sediment in the water, or maybe there's
Hmm.
a lot of seaweed, I will always say, I'm not getting in the water if I cannot
Hmm.
see the bottom. So you go,
Hmm.
enjoy. I will watch from here. And it's funny you said that because that's immediately what I was thinking when I look at pictures and videos, of
Hmm.
people on vacation and they go to these tropical
Yeah.
islands. The light blue turquoise water, that's where I want to be, you know?
Yes, and I mean, the way you are, like you are such a lovely, light-hearted, like loving, like your energy signature is so lovely, and it's very much like the energy signature of the Mintakan star seeds, honestly speaking.
Wow, that's so
So
nice. I love that. Thank you for saying that. I love that.
maybe we'd have to do a little session at some point.
I think so. I have to. I have to because there's no way I cannot know now that you've said what you've said. I need to know more. So that's exciting. So
That's my
what are your
specialty.
What are
That's my
your origin?
specialty.
I know, and I should have reached out to you earlier about that. What are your origins? Where do you
Me. Well,
yes.
my very first origins are from that parallel universe that I told you about, that
Yeah.
water planet Farah as a cosmic whale being, an Akashic records keeper.
Mhm.
Those are my origins. And I lived in those parallel dimensions on different planets, taking on different blueprints. So
Mhm.
those are my origins. It's called parallel dimension soul. Those are very expansive souls that have lived in completely different universes and different rules, different universal laws. We have a lot of people from there. And then basically, after I came to this galaxy, I incarnated also in different places, but the most important one is Pleiadian. So in the Pleiades, I actually didn't live that many lives there, but the Pleiades is my primary energy signature. That's what I feel most aligned to, and my most important higher self, or I would say important incarnation is a Pleiadian woman, and that's my higher self that I connect to. But also, I incarnated on Arcturus, also on other planets, on Sirius. Like when I came into this incarnation, my lion guide took me straight from Sirius through the Lionsgate portal to Earth, because I was born on the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of August, 0808. And that is a portal going straight to Sirius, right? So, that is also part of my origin because, light workers often are also galactic travelers because our souls want to help in different places. So, as above, so below, right? So, a lot of us have different starseed origins, multiple places where we lived and incarnated. So, we're the real ETs, like, we're the real extraterrestrials because terra terrestrial is Earth and we are like extra, extra, extra.
Yeah. And
So,
isn't that interesting? Because the 8th of August was the date that came through in the hypnosis for our publishing date. Isn't that
yes,
interesting?
that was a
Wow.
sign too. Like so many signs. That was a sign. On my birthday will be the publishing
Yeah.
as the next step for me. I mean, those are like such clear signs. And, when you are really connected with your higher self, when you're really on that ascension timeline, you get so many signs that lead you in the right direction and that confirm to you, yep, say yes, say yes, say yes, like so many things. It's beautiful.
Wow, that's so interesting and exciting. I'm so excited because I don't know what the ripple effects will be for you, the other authors, the people who are reading. I just see it unfold in real time as it happens, but I
Hmm.
can imagine all the amazing things that are going to take place because of it. And it's so exciting.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
tell me a little bit about some of the readings you do. So you do readings and you
Hmm.
can tell people
Yes,
the starseed origins and all this. What are some
yes.
of the more interesting ones that always stay with you or that you always remember, the meaningful
Oh my
ones?
goodness. Oh yeah, there are a lot. Like I do it all through the Akashic records, right? So I learned to access the Akashic records, and I love that because it's a very neutral point of access. You don't go through spirit guides, through other things. It's like you go straight to the source of the Akashic records, which is basically an eighth dimensional place where everything that exists is written in records. They're like energetic vibrational records. So, there's a technique that you can kind of access those. You have to go through initiations and things like that and practice. And then you can actually take the record of a client who gives you permission through their birth data and open it. And then you can channel their past lives. So that's how it works. And that way, you can see everything about them, past, present, future, their journey through the stars, like thousands of lives back, maybe. And that's why it's possible to even see where this person lived in the stars, their starseed origin. And so the most interesting thing, obviously, is where did they incarnate? What did it look like? An Arcturian. Okay, how many lifetimes ago did he live on Arcturus? What did Arcturus look like? What what did he do there? How did he look like? So when I close my eyes and I ask for that information to come forth, I see, feel, hear it, and I actually can perceive what that planet looks like, what that person did, and what they looked like. And recently, as I'm opening more, I can see their councils, their purpose, like what kind of star council they're in. Everyone who comes to me is already an advanced light worker, right? They're already so high vibrational, and they all have an amazing purpose and mission here. So it is possible to see why they're here and what council, what group of higher dimensional beings they're associated with, right? So that's really cool. And even souls who were negative. I don't know, did I ever tell you that story about the draconian soul? as as what's I think that was the most emotional reading I ever did. So a client booked came to me. I go into the records beforehand, like to do a bit of research. I go and what is the starseed origin? Draconian. And we know, as we've discussed before, the Draconians are an inherent negative soul group. They're a renegade soul group from the dragons who turned negative. And they wreaked a lot of havoc on Earth here too and everything, right? So I was like, a Draconian soul. Okay, okay. And I trust what I get. I always trust. So I said, okay, let's see what happens. I looked at the other divine gifts and everything. She was a positive soul, high vibrational positive soul. So when I got her live, I told her this. And I said, you are a positive soul, a very high vibrational soul, but you are of draconian descent. And now, when you turned positive, you're a dragon. Because the dragons, when they turn negative, they become draconians. And then when they access their God spark again, they become dragons again. So she said, I knew it. I knew it. I have memories. I knew this. And I was like, okay, so I wasn't wrong because I mean, telling someone you're a draconian is like not an easy thing. But she completely resonated. And then she told me of memories of darkness, memories of wars, of different things. But she was such a beautiful, high vibrational being. So I said, let's dive deep. Let's go into a past life that is relevant for you, right? I always ask for something that's relevant. And I went in and I went directly to Hadar. Hadar, or Beta Centauri, is a planet close to Alpha Draconis, where the Draconians live, basically. And they overtook that planet and kind of destroyed it and took them, everyone as slaves and things like that, right? So the Hadarans have that history. So I went straight to Hadar, and what I saw was this, that she, as a Draconian, had been there in the wars and had lived there and had connected with the Hadarans. And she wasn't inherently that evil. She just chose to incarnate as a Draconian first in her first incarnations for whatever reason. But she always had this spark of light in her, like all beings have a spark of God, a God spark in them, a spark of light. And she was yearning for that. Then, um, what happened was she went to Hadar and she fell in love. She fell in love. She fell in love with a Hadaran soul as the Draconian, and they actually were together for several lifetimes. And she was like so because the Hadarans are the most heart open souls. That's starseed origin, pure love, pure love. So what happened was what I saw was she actually incarnated as the child of this Hadaran mother, as the baby, right? So they did this contract. So she was a negative draconian soul incarnating in a positive Hadaran body. The Hadarans are like humans, they're like us. So what I saw was when she was born, the mother took this child. It was a negative draconian soul, but in this beautiful Hadaran body. And the mother had such pure, unconditional love that this draconian soul, when she first opened her eyes and looked into her mother's eyes, the God spark went up and she became positive in that moment. So I'm emotional every time I say this because I remember this. I remember this. And this is the power of pure love that can turn a negative soul into a positive one. And this was the power of the love of this mother. And only well, not only the Hadarans, a lot of starseeds can, but the Hadarans have such powerful unconditional love that just by looking into her mother's eyes and feeling this love, for the first time, she connected to God. For the first time, the God spark within connected and was like this unbelievable opening, this explosion. And she became a divine being in that moment. So I will
Wow.
never forget that moment. Never. It was so like this was real. This is not made up. This was such a real experience. And I was like, wow. Wow. I was like so blown away. And this completely changed the life of this client because this client was wondering why she had so many negative dreams. Like she was torn on the inside. It was like so difficult, even though she was a divine dragon being, and this whole history of her soul explained everything to her and made everything clear and made clear to me the absolute power of divine pure love that can happen. And so that is like an example of, you know, of the types of things that happen in my readings. So it's not just a reading, you are this and this. These readings, they're revelations, they're initiations. They're like with every single person who comes to me, it's like something really important comes up and it's a huge revelation. Like it really is. So it's really beautiful. That's why I love this work so much.
That is so fascinating. It's so beautiful. And like you say, it's meaningful. It literally changed her life in so many ways. And she
Hmm.
now understands why, why the
Hmm.
dreams, why this, why that. And
Yes.
and sometimes if you don't know, like you say, it can become torture on the inside because
Hmm.
you don't understand why am I, feeling this way or having certain experiences. And you think, you don't
Hmm.
know where to turn, you don't know who to go to because many
Yeah.
people don't understand this type of work.
Oh
And
yeah.
and so they might even give you advice that is not compatible with you or that doesn't
Hmm.
resonate with you.
Hmm.
And then you feel alone, you feel like no one understands. So i
Yes.
i get it. It's
Totally.
so important that you do what you
Hmm.
do, and I appreciate you telling me that experience.
Hmm.
What about the planets? Like, what are some of the most amazing planets you've seen?
Wow. Well, they're all amazing in their own way. One planet that I really love that I discovered recently is a planet in the Andromeda galaxy. So the Andromeda galaxy is an angelic realm. So beings from there are very independent, but they have an angelic blueprint. They have wings, right? Because they're angelic. So recently I discovered a healing planet in the Andromeda galaxy. And it's a planet where souls go that are traumatized when they go away from life here, like when they leave Earth, when they leave their body, when they die, so to say, even though there is no such thing as death as we know. And they're very traumatized and it's been really difficult. Often they go to the Andromeda galaxy, to this beautiful planet which is so lush with flowers and crystal caves. Like, and I saw this place, it's like a valley with so many beautiful flowers and gardens, and the earth is open with crystal caves, and in those caves are healing chambers with guardians, with angels, Andromedan angels guarding these. So when a soul leaves this life so traumatized and having had such difficulty, but still connected to the light, they go there to be healed and watched over for, I don't know, years. Time there is different until they're healed because it's been so difficult. So they sleep and then they're like healed, watched over. They're given flower essences because in the Andromeda galaxy, they don't eat much, like depending what era, but they don't eat animals or plants. They eat the essences and the dew of the flowers and honey and things like that. So they make like medicine and concoctions with flower water and flower essences. So these people in the caves that are sleeping, they're given these and they're healed in so many different ways. Their soul is healed to integrate the experience of that difficult earth lifetime. And when they're healed, they wake up and they're taken to their heaven, their life between lives, to do their thing there, and then what if they want to, they can come back to Earth. So that's one example of a really cool, fascinating place I found recently in the
Wow.
stars.
That sounds like a fantasy, like something you would see in a fantasy movie.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
A lot of places are like fantasy because where do you think fantasy comes from? Or the authors who think of those fantasies? They are memories of other planets and other lives. They
Yeah.
are. Really, with the dragons, there's lots of places with dragons.
Mm.
Lemuria had dragons. Lyra had dragons or has dragons. Sirius has dragons. Mermaids are abundant on different planets, right?
Yes.
Unicorns as well. Like all those fantasy things are memories of people who just think they make it up, but it's coming from deep memories from past lives. And that's the trick. That's the
Mm.
secret of it.
Yeah, elves, fairies, all that. And a lot of them are
Yes.
sometimes here too, maybe just on a different frequency or, that some people can perceive and some people cannot perceive.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So what do you think is the difference between someone who can perceive something and someone who cannot?
I think there's different things. One is the evolution of their soul. Like what frequencies have they lived in? What is their mission and purpose? Are they a high dimensional like healer from the Pleiades who has the purpose and mission to heal the universe, to heal all beings? Have they lived in very high dimensions? Have they been masters? Have they ascended already in other places? And when they're like that, then they are practiced souls. So when they come down, boom, to 3D, the great forgetting where you're born and it's like birth amnesia, you don't remember anything. They know that that's going to happen, but they've practiced awakening before in third dimensional bodies, and they're just masters of conscious. They're very high dimensional beings already, so they can work through the veil and they can awaken. They will awaken at some point in their life. They know this before they come, and they've practiced it. But for very very new souls who perhaps, like for example earther souls who maybe have had only 500 lifetimes on Earth, only in the third dimension. For them, they haven't experienced ascension, they haven't experienced conscious lives in higher dimensions, so they're not practiced. And for them, it's difficult, more difficult to awaken or perceive things beyond the veil because they haven't done that. It's just like, some kids are born like at 3 years old, they're masters on the piano because they've done this in other lives already. So it's more easy. So it's kind of a little bit like that, I feel. Also, perhaps the level of trauma or karma you've experienced in past lives. That can also play a role. If you're very high dimensional, but you've experienced a lot of trauma, a lot of heavy things, and the matrix is affecting you a lot. You're a lot in that third dimensional matrix. I see it like a black cloud around Earth that stops you from piercing through the veil. If you're very much embedded in that or traumatized enough, been like pushed down, that can also be a reason. Um, Karma, when you're called a witch and burned at the stake because you were too psychic, you're afraid to open that. There's different reasons, I would say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it does also depend on the relevance, is it relevant for you to even see or not see? Because it kind of makes me think of
Hmm.
people who are, maybe a little bit skeptical. I imagine, if everyone could see into different dimensions, right? That would kind of be chaos because if you're not ready for it, or if you don't know, or
Yes.
if it's not
Yes.
relevant for you, you
Hmm.
might have some mental issues. You might go into
Hmm.
some kind of psychosis, maybe
And that
because you're not ready.
happens. That
Yeah,
happens. I've come across people who have gone over the deep end.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
because
difficult
of
because
that.
yeah, it's difficult because these things do exist, and then you're dealing with maybe experts or medical professionals who are telling you that they don't exist.
Hmm.
Like the other day, I was speaking to someone who was talking to me about someone they knew who had dementia, and they were saying about the caregiver of this person who has dementia, and the caregiver puts a lot of, in my opinion, puts a lot of stress on the person
Hmm.
with dementia by
Hmm.
correcting them all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So the person with dementia will say, oh, I'm waiting for the kids, I sent them to go and buy me candy or whatever.
Hmm.
And then the caregiver will say, oh, there are no kids, what are you talking about, this or that.
Yeah.
And I said, that places so much stress on them because they're not living
Yes.
here. They are
Yes.
somewhere else. And
Hmm.
what difference does it make if the caregiver just plays along and says,
Yes.
yeah, kids are always
Yes.
taking a long time. They're probably playing outside, or, make up something and play along.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not gonna hurt anyone. They don't know any
Yes.
better anyway. You're not putting them under stress. And I feel like it's the same thing with dealing with these kind of things where
Yes.
the caregivers, the people who are like in the medical field, they don't even understand what they're dealing with. So they
Yeah.
put more stress on someone who is
Yeah.
experiencing these things, because we don't know. Maybe somebody who is diagnosed with schizophrenia or something,
Hmm.
perhaps they are just seeing into different dimensions, and we don't
Yes.
know.
No, no, you're right about that. And that's a good point because a lot of people try to shortcut spiritual awakening when they're not ready and ripe for it. For
Yeah.
me, it's been a slow process through my whole life with experience, with meditation. Like, if your psychic senses are ripped open and you're not ready, you can go crazy. And a lot of people really try that. Like, they don't want to work for it. In the third dimension, usually it has to be an organic process. We are offered sometimes just too much information, and maybe through psychedelics or drugs, or I don't know, there's different things. But if we're not ready for it and it's forced on us, or like it's ripped open, it can be very traumatic. So it's best to awaken actually slowly, organically. I feel that's what I did in my life. I always wanted to, hear the other side, and wanted, angels to speak to me and different beings, but it happened very slowly and I had to work hard for it. I had to work for it. I still have to work for it sometimes, it wasn't automatically voices and angels coming down. It was me studying, meditating, practicing, trying all modalities with the Akashic Records. I tried different ways because I really wanted to do it and it didn't work. It didn't work. I tried, and then finally one thing worked, but I was ready for it. And then it started to come through and open, and I keep practicing and studying more, more, more. And so now there came a point maybe a few years ago where everything really started to like open, but I was ready. So it was organic. I knew it was truth. I had gotten a sense of these things slowly over time. So that's why I feel I know what I know. I'm firmly rooted in, my spiritual practices, and I know truth when I see it. I trust myself. I'm confident, but it took a long time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a slower process. It's going to be much easier to digest as well, because you
Hmm.
you need to account for the fact that you are still human in this lifetime. You are still
Oh yes,
experiencing a
yeah.
human experience in a human reality where we have
Hmm.
human things we need to do as well. And
Hmm.
if all you're doing all day long is just, being somewhere else and, into the spiritualness of yourself, you forget to do the human things. And that's
Yes,
why we
yeah.
came here to experience through a human perspective, and I feel that
Yes,
is equally important than all the other things as well. All of it has its own
yes.
importance and holds its own
Hmm.
sacredness.
Yes, you're right. You're totally right about that. I agree.
Yeah. And what
Hmm.
do you think? Like, how do you deal with people who are maybe very skeptical about these things and they argue with you and say things like, oh, ETs don't exist? That's one I deal with a lot, where people say,
They
oh,
don't.
ETs don't
I
exist.
never deal with people like that. I don't know why. They don't come to me and say that. They don't. They just don't, like nobody. I don't know why. Maybe it's maybe it's that some people who I know are just not into it. I don't talk to them about it or try to convince them or anything. Before I used to, but I gave up because if someone's not ready for this, you can't push it on them. If they're a little bit open, you start talking a little bit and they're curious and they're like, oh, okay, okay. But someone who's completely like against it's like, no. It happened to me a few times before, but
Yeah.
it doesn't happen anymore. And on YouTube, like my main platform is YouTube, people are attracted to YouTube. That's the beauty of it. If they're
Yes.
interested in that type of stuff, they come and they're interested and they're open. And I don't get trolls, I don't get negative people, nothing. So that doesn't apply.
Wow, that's
Doesn't apply
wonderful.
to me.
That is so good. So my daughter had a birthday on Friday, and she had some friends over, and their parents came. And
Hmm.
I was sitting and talking to this one mom, and she's a writer as well, but she writes a lot of, inspirational and motivational stuff, a lot of
Hmm.
poetry. And she said to me, "Oh, what are you working on? What's your latest project you're working on?" And I said,
You're like, "Oh, do you really want to know?"
I said,
Oh,
I showed her the artwork for the cover, and she was like, "Oh, this is so interesting.
hmm,
What is this about?" And I said,
hmm,
it's a group of authors, and they come together and they share their insights and their experiences about, extra-dimensional and
hmm,
extraterrestrial beings and, that kind of thing. And
hmm.
she's like, "But how do they know it exists? How do you know it exists?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to get into this discussion right
Yeah.
now,
With a
because
person who has no idea in frame of reference, it's difficult.
yes,
It's
yes, because
difficult. Yeah.
they have, like you say, they have no frame of reference. It's just
Yeah.
an open question for someone who is considering this for the first time,
Hmm.
and you have to go so deep in so many different things for it to even make
Yes.
sense. Because
Totally.
I know that she is her belief system is very much the belief system I used to have when I grew up,
Hmm.
that we are only physical beings
Hmm.
and that kind of
Hmm.
thing. And
Hmm.
I know that she wouldn't get certain things. And
Yeah.
I knew that if she had to ask me a question that I would perceive it almost like a challenge. Like I have
Yes.
to
Oh,
explain
yeah.
this. I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to tell you.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I didn't, it's so exhausting,
Yeah. You should have told her, well, just read the book when it comes out.
That's what I said. I said, you know
Oh,
what?
good.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna send you a PDF when the book is done and you can read it.
Hmm.
And to prepare you for it, I'm gonna send you a PDF of all the other books that came before, so you can be ready.
To slowly get into this.
Yes, because I
Hmm.
mean, for all of us and all of the authors in this book, like you say, very advanced beings, all of you. This is not the first rodeo. This is not the first exploration of this topic. So even the people who will be reading this are coming from a place of a little bit of advancement in this
Hmm.
topic. It's not,
Hmm.
first timers can read it and they can, find
Hmm.
avenues that they are excited to explore.
Hmm.
But it will take a little bit of prior exploration to understand some of the deeper concepts, or
Yes.
even to resonate with some of them, because you might not
Hmm.
even understand the context. So I
Yes.
and I get it. It's
Yeah.
step by step you
Hmm.
know
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm so excited for this book. Are you excited?
Totally. I can't wait to really read what the others wrote.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Very curious, extremely curious.
Yeah, everyone's chapters are so beautiful. I haven't read all of them in detail
Hmm.
front to back, but I've skimmed through a few of them.
Hmm.
Rebecca's chapter, obviously, wonderful. I've read
Hmm.
a little bit of Esther's chapter. Tony, I know you've never met Tony because he's always traveling when we have our group calls,
Yeah.
but he had written about the mantis beings because he's in communication with
Wow.
them. Yes, so many
Beautiful.
beautiful things coming out in this book, and
Hmm.
new things that I didn't even know about. I mean, I don't know much about this topic anyway, so that's saying something. But it's exciting. It's so
Hmm.
it opens you up to like even noticing other things. So when I was watching something earlier on Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
It was I don't know if it was a Greg Braden um,
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'm not sure about what it was, but they were talking about the Garden of Eden, and they were talking about those ancient Sumerian
Mm-hmm.
tablets and revelations and Enki and Enlil, and they were talking about the origins of these star beings that came, and
Mm-hmm.
all these things. And it's nothing I hadn't heard before,
Mm-hmm.
but I heard other things that were not said because of what I
Mm-hmm.
know now interacting with all
Okay.
of you.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
yes. So I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
was reading between the lines, and they weren't implying anything, the people
Mm-hmm.
in the show, they weren't implying anything, but I was making connections
Mm-hmm.
that I hadn't prior made for
Mm-hmm.
myself. And so I was thinking, wow, even just understanding something from a different perspective can open
Yes.
up a whole new avenue of understanding, or a whole new
Yes.
avenue of exploration into a topic, because
Mm-hmm.
it's infinite. It literally is infinite.
Yes.
You can
Yeah,
understand something from so many different perspectives.
you're totally right. It happens to me all the time too, like old things
Yeah.
or people or subject matters, problems. And now I'm like, now I know why. Now it makes sense because of the expanded knowledge of the universe, of souls, of karma, of star seeds, of different planets, of different um, ways of being that influence you now and before I didn't know. Like it's so, so interesting. You're right. Like it just opens everything with new perspectives or deeper perspectives in your life.
Yeah, definitely deeper perspectives. And it's not like you say, it's like it starts off subtle and it
Hmm.
starts off easy. But then when you just think about it a little bit, you can see all those connections. Like they were talking about the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know this because I didn't even make this connection before. But so the serpent being, right, came
Hmm.
to the woman and gave her the fruit from the
Hmm.
tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Hmm.
And she had to be, or they had to be sent away from this Garden of Eden, because since they had the knowledge of good and evil, they would now seek the knowledge from the tree of life. I didn't even know this. This is in Genesis. Like you can
Okay.
actually go and read
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, so one awakening leads to the next awakening. That's what was happening. And they
Hmm.
didn't want the humans to awaken to that level, because they said if they eat from this knowledge of the tree of life, they will become like gods. So, what is,
Wow.
yes,
Interesting.
interesting. So, it's like suppressing an awakening that is happening, or something, or that was happening, or that was inevitable to happen. So the only way would be to send them away. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
I wasn't there, but I'm just like, trying to piece the pieces together.
That's interesting. Maybe it's also a dimensional thing. Maybe the third dimensional humans evolving couldn't know too much of other like deeper dimensional knowledge, or else they would just go crazy. I don't know. Something like that.
Yes, that is exactly. And also, the other theory was because if they knew their origins in terms of them being immortal, them being eternal beings, and all of that, they would no longer want to be slaves. They would no longer
Yeah.
want to work
Yeah.
as slave workers. They would want to be transcendent, and they would want
Yeah.
to awaken and whatever. So then you wouldn't be able to control them because they would know too much,
Yes.
something like
As we do
that.
now. We know a lot, so we cannot be contained anymore. That's it.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
it's so relevant because yesterday I was speaking to someone, and she was telling me, things are changing so rapidly with all these um, the natural disasters that are happening, and there
Hmm.
was a lot of earthquake and
Hmm.
volcanic activity and all this. There were some floods that happened in Texas, I think, and
Hmm.
some people came over the border from Mexico to assist with
Hmm.
the people that were affected by the floods. And there was a girl or two girls or something that walked over the border from Mexico and saved 20 people who were in the floods.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure of my facts, but it was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, there was some influential type person, some political person whose family was saved by
Mm-hmm.
this group of people who
Mm-hmm.
were technically illegal because they just walked over the border.
Mm-hmm.
And he changed his mindset completely about illegal and legal and this and that because
Ah,
they had
yes.
saved his family as well as others
Yes.
with all of this. And I was like, wow, it's unfortunate that things like this have to happen through
Yeah.
tragedy,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
happening, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Absolutely. That's a good example.
yes, very
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
It
Wow,
is.
okay. Well, I'm super excited for this book. I'm super excited for everyone to read about your chapter. And I'll put the links in the description for the book, the pre order. I'll put the links to your website where people can learn more about what you do
Mm-hmm.
and book with you and all that. I highly recommend it. You have to book with Natascha if you want to know where you come from and all the fun things. And you go into details. You go into extreme
Oh, yeah.
details.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to tell a little bit about what it's like to have a session with you?
Oh, my goodness. Well, it is transformational. It is mind blowing. It's opening. And I mean, what I talked about before, when I go into the records and look at people's past lives and I see their Akashic record already, like, and often it looks like flowers or like some special signatures that they have, so they get to experience what it's like to open their own Akashic record, and they get to experience first and foremost what an amazing divine eternal being they are, what a creator being they are. And not only can we look at past lives in the stars and at their soul signature, one thing as well that I specialize in is clearing karma, and that's huge. Like jumping into past lives, like as we can look into positive past lives, we can look into negative past lives and see what they actually did to create a karmic pattern, why things are not working, right? And there's so much different types of karma you can clear, not only past life karma, but like energy glitches in your divine matrix, how you are stuck in the 3D web and how many connections you have that you have to cut. Like there's so many things that are actually holding you back from being the best version of who you are. So it's also really enlightening and helpful to do karmic clearing. Like that's something I really, really specialize in as well. And for example, if people come to me and say, I have problems with money, like always. I don't know why, no matter how much I work, no matter what I do, there seems to be a hole in my pocket that it always goes away. And then we find out, for example, that they had had 3 past lives where they took vows of poverty, becoming a monk, which is a beautiful thing, but that was not aligned the vow of poverty, right? In another lifetime where they were a slave and they had to take a vow of poverty um, to their master that they could never own anything. And then another lifetime where maybe you married a man and you could never own property as a woman, right? Things like that. So these things that come up in past lives are exactly the situation that that person is in usually. Like it comes around and it's a direct parallel. So when we have recurring negative patterns in our lives, it often is a karmic problem. So we uncover that. And I have a board here. This is of a video I made yesterday about AI. Is AI sentient? But I always have a board and I write down the whole karmic, all the karma here. So you have it visually and then we clear that. So that's one way of working with me that has like really good results, like transformational results in a different way, right? So I really like try to go deep. I go detailed. I have protocols that I fulfill, and I feel that this work is really it's really life changing. It really is transformational to get you to your highest timeline, to your greatest potential, to your creator beingness. You know, because you're a divine soul that is limitless and that can have everything you want in life, everything you ever dreamed of, you can have. You just have to believe it, know who you are, and clear stuff and move forward, right? So that's basically the work that I do.
100%. And it's such beautiful work. Thank you so much, Natasha, for doing what you do. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. And I appreciate you being in this book and sharing all that you shared in there. And I look forward to seeing all the wonderful, amazing work you get to do with the other authors and by yourself. I'm just
Thank
wonderful.
you.
I'm so excited to watch it unfold. And
Thank you.
I'm cheering for you. I'm here for you and with you. So thank you so much.
I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
too. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll put all the details for the book and all that in the description.
Mhm.
And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
All the
you.
best to you.
Thank you.